Hello again, folks. Welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode 32. Robert Max here. Hoping everyone's doing well. And we're returning to time travel baseball for the rival series between the 70 Phillies and the 70's Phillies and the 70's Mets. These are franchise all-star teams from that decade. Cards, very sharp cards created by Daniel Forcier. If you'd like more information about Daniel's cards, there'll be a link in the description for this video. This is game 4 of the series, with the Mets leading the series 2-1. We are in Shea Stadium for game 4. So the Phillies need to win one of these 2 remaining games at Shea to keep the series alive and get it back to the vet. Let's get to the starting lineups for the 70's Phillies. Leading off, second baseman Dave Cash. Bake McBride in right field bats second. Mike Schmidt at third base bats third. Greg Luzinski bats fourth and plays left field. Del Unser's at first base. He bats fifth. Gary Maddox in center field is batting sixth. Tim McCarver in the lineup for this game. He's catching, batting seventh. Larry Bowe is the shortstop, batting eighth. And batting ninth and on the mound is pitcher, right-hander Jim Longborg. He is a regular hitting pitcher, so we'll replace his card with the pitcher hitting card in the lineup. Now for the home Mets, leading off, center fielder Tommy Agee. Batting second, Felix Millan at second base. Cleon Jones is in left field and bats third. Dave Kingman's in right. He bats fourth. Wayne Garrett's at third base. He's batting fifth. Art Shamsky's at first base. He's batting sixth. Jerry Grode is the catcher and bats seventh. Bud Harrelson's at shortstop, batting eighth. And on the mound and pitching is left-hander John Matlack. He is a dangerous hitting pitcher, so we will replace his card with the dangerous batting card in the lineup. And we are ready to get underway. Let me give the gamble cards a shuffle and a cut, and we'll be ready to go. All right, shuffle and a cut. And John Matlack finishes his warm-up tosses. Dave Cash steps into the batter's box, and we are underway. We have double fours right off the bat, and either way, it's going to be a strikeout, but we'll flip a card because we're supposed to. So first strikeout for Matlack, and there is one away. That brings up Bake McBride, the right fielder. We have double sixes. This is coming off of the pitcher's card, and this is deep to right field. Sends Dave Kingman back to the wall. It's over the fence, out of here, gone. A home run for Bake McBride. The Phillies are on the board right away. McBride gets an RBI. 1-0 Phils. Here's Mike Schmidt. We have a 7 coming off of the pitcher's card, and it's take a gamble. There's no one on base. Needling by bench jockeys is unnerving the pitcher. Reduce him to hard luck. So Matlack becomes a hard luck pitcher. I didn't mention that the Mets with 20 defensive points to the Phillies 18. The Mets are the alert team. So for a hard luck pitcher, no teammate can be a star fielder when runners are on base, unless they have the all-time top fielder, gold star. So the only time that's going to come into play is when the Phillies have men on base. Tough pitcher gets meaner, elevate him to both ace and dangerous at bats. Well, Matlack is not a tough pitcher. So he is going to be a hard luck pitcher for the rest of this game. All right, so I guess Schmidt gets another roll because there was no result on that card. We have a 10 coming off of the batter's card, and it's a short single with a question mark. They are not the same handedness, so Mike Schmidt singles. So Schmidt's on first with 1 out, and Greg Luzinski comes up to bat. We have a 6 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a strikeout for out number 2, and the second strikeout for Matlack. That brings up first baseman Del Unser. And we have a 3 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a walk. That's going to move Schmidt up to second base. So it's first and second with 2 outs. And that is the third base runner. Here's Gary Maddox, center fielder. We have an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to second base. Felix Mion over to Archamsky for out number 3. But the Phillies get on the board on Bake McBride's solo home run. And after 1/2 inning of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets coming to bat. Jim Longborg takes the mound. And he's going to face Tommy Agee, Felix Mion, and Cleon Jones. Dave Kingman, if anyone gets on base. We have an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. Agee strikes out. That's the first out and first strikeout for Longborg. Here's Felix Mion. We have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to left fielder Greg Luzinski. He's under that, makes the catch, and that's out number 2. Cleon Jones, Mets left fielder. We have a 5 coming off the pitcher's card. That's deep driving back left fielder Greg Luzinski, but he's under that one just like the last, and that's out number 3. So the Mets go down quietly 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first, and after 1 inning of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets 0. Matlack back out to face Tim McCarver. We have a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a short single. So the Phillies put the leadoff man. McCarver's on first for Larry Boa. There's a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for John Matlack, and the first out. It's going to bring up pitcher Jim Longborg. Have a 5 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's another strikeout. That's strikeout number 4 for Matlack, and that's out number 2. We're back to the top of the order. And Dave Cash, second baseman for the Phils. 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a chopped ground out to third baseman Wayne Garrett, over to Archamsky for out number 3. And in the top of the second, Phillies leave McCarver stranded on first base, and after 1.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Go to the bottom of the second. Longborg is going to face Dave Kingman first. We have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to second baseman Dave Cash. Over to Del Unser for out number 1. Here's Wayne Garrett, Mets third baseman. Double 5s coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a double. First hit and base runner for the Mets. So Garrett's in scoring position with 1 out, and Archamsky coming up to bat. And we roll a 5 off the pitcher's card. That's a ball driven deep to center field. Gary Maddox is underneath it on the warning track, makes the catch for out number 2. With Garrett on second, Jerry Grody comes up to the plate with 2 outs. And that is a 7 off of the batter's card. It's another high fly ball. This one's to Greg Luzinski. He's back against the wall, makes that catch for out number 3. The Mets leave a runner in scoring position, and after 2 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. We go to the top of the 3rd. Excuse me, John Matlack's still out here. We got a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a line out to shortstop Bud Harrelson for the first out. That was Bake McBride, who homered his first time up. Here's Mike Schmidt, third baseman for the Phils. He's 1 for 1 with a single. We roll a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's another strikeout. That's strikeout number 5 for Matlack, and it's out number 2. Here's Greg Luzinski. Luzinski struck out in the first. Have an 8 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to second baseman Felix Mion, over to Art Shamsky for out number 3. And the Phillies go down 1-2-3 in the 3rd, and after 2.5 innings, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. Go to the bottom of the 3rd, Jim Longborg. He's going to face Bud Harrelson, John Matlack, and Tommy Agee. We got a 4 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a leadoff walk. So Harrelson's on first base with nobody out. Matlack is a dangerous hitting pitcher, so we're going to let him swing away. And we have an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card, and it wouldn't have mattered. It's a strikeout. So that's strikeout number 2 for Longborg, and it's the first out. Back to the top of the order, and Tommy Agee. Tommy Agee struck out in the first. We have a 3 coming off of the batter's card, and that's another strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Longborg, and out number 2. Here's Felix Mion. Got a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out. It's a center fielder, Gary Maddox. Underneath that, easily makes the catch. That's out number 3. Mets leave a runner stranded, and after 3 innings of play, it's the Phillies 1 and the Mets nothing. We go to the top of the 4th, and John Matlack coming out, face Del Unser, Gary Maddox, Tim McCarver, and Larry Boa if anyone gets on base. We have a 3 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a leadoff walk for Unser. That's his 2nd walk in this game. Here's Gary Maddox. He grounded out to 2nd in the 1st inning. That's an 8 coming off of the batter's card, the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out back to the pitcher. Sharp ground out, first base occupied. It's a double play, so that is going to be a 1-3-6 double play for the Mets. 1-3-6, and there are 2 away. Here's Tim McCarver. Double ones. Coming off the batter's card, this ball is hit deep to center field. Tommy Agee is back, but it's over his head and over the wall, out of here, gone. A 2-out home run for Tim McCarver, and the Phillies are now up 2-0. Here's Larry Boa. 4 coming off the batter's card, and that's a strikeout, and that's strikeout number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. 6 strikeout for Matlack, and that ends the top of the 4th, but the Phillies score on another solo home run. This time it was from Tim McCarver. And after 3.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 2 and the Mets nothing. Jim Longboard back out, the 2-run lead. And he's going to see Jones, Dave Kingman, and Wayne Garrett. There's an 11 off of the pitcher's card, and that's a short single for Cleon Jones. So he's on first, nobody out. Here's Dave Kingman. We have a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's a strikeout. That is the 4th strikeout for Longborg. And the first out. So Jones on first with 1 out for Wayne Garrett. We roll a 5 off of the batter's card. That's a single. And that's going to move Jones up to second base. So the Mets are in business. Runners on first and second with 1 out, and Art Shamsky comes to the plate. He flew out to center field in the second. We have an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 5 for Longborg, and out number 2. And here's Jerry Grody. Got a 5 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a deep fly out to center fielder Gary Maddox. He's underneath that, makes the catch for out number 3. The Mets threaten but do not score, and after 4 innings of play, it's the Phillies 2 and the Mets nothing. Top of the 5th, Matlack is going to face his counterpart, Jim Longborg, Dave Cash, and then Bake McBride. That's double 6s. It's coming off the batter's card. It's a short single for pitcher Jim Longborg, and he's on base with nobody out. Back to the top of the order, and Dave Cash. Have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It is a chop ground out. Batter to first on fielder's choice. And we'll draw the top gamble card because it tells us to. But Longborg is going to be thrown out going to second in the fielder's choice. And Dave Cash on an FC gets to first. So Cash is on first with 1 out. Excuse me, and Bake McBride. So we have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's another chop ground out, and it's going to be the same result. Another fielder's choice. So McBride goes to first on the fielder's choice. Cash is thrown out, forced out at second for out number 2. So McBride's on first with 2 outs, and Michael Jack Schmidt. And we have a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 7 for Longborg, Matlack. And that's out number 3. So after 4.5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 2 and the Mets nothing. Longborg back out for the bottom of the 5th. Bud Harrelson's the first batter. That's a 3 coming off the batter's card, and that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 6 for Longborg, and it's the first out. It's going to bring up John Matlack. He's staying in the game. We have a 9 coming off of the batter's card. It is a hard ground out to second base. Dave Cash over to Del Unser for out number 2. Back to the top of the order for the Mets and Tommy Agee. That's a 5 coming off of the batter's card. That is a single with the plus sign. So Agee is a daring runner. That means he gets a 2 on the steal chart. We're going to roll the die. And let's see. Tim McCarver is a 2 as well. So we roll a 3. And on a 3, he is picked off. Picked off. A 0 pitcher would have thrown wild and allowed the runner to advance, but AG takes too big of a lead, and Longborg picks him off for the third out. Picked off. He's out, and that's out number 3. And the Mets fail to generate any offense, or score, I should say. And after 5 innings of play, it's the Phillies 2, Mets nothing. John Matlack back out the pitch. He's going to face Greg Luzinski, Del Unser, and Gary Maddox. We have a 4 coming off of the batter's card. It is a deep fly out to left fielder Cleon Jones, and he's underneath that for out number 1. Here's Del Unser. He is 0 for 0 with 2 walks, so he's been on base both times at bat. And we get a 5 coming off the pitcher's card, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 8 for Matlock. And out number 2. Here's Gary Maddox. 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to left fielder Cleon Jones. He's underneath that. And makes the catch for out number 3. So the Phillies go quietly in the top of the 6th, and after 5.5 innings, it's the Phillies 2, Mets nothing. Longborg's going to face Beyond, Jones, and Kingman. We have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out to right fielder Bake McBride for out number 1, and Beyond is 0 for 3. With 3 flyouts. Here's Cleon Jones. Jones is 1 for 2 with a single last time up. Here's a 5, and that's another single for Jones. So it's a 1-out single. Puts Jones on first base. Now, Jones is a fast runner, but he has to be daring to be able to steal without the plus sign on his card result. So he's on first with 1 out for Dave Kingman. And that's a 9 coming off of the pitcher's card. And that's an infield pop out. That's going to go to second baseman Dave Cash for out number 2. Here's Wayne Garrett. Garrett's 2 for 2 with a single and a double. We got double 2s. It's coming off of the batter's card. It is a sharp ground out to second baseman Dave Cash. Over to Del Unser for out number 3. And the Mets fail to really get anything going again. And after 6 innings, it's the Phillies 2 and the Mets nothing. Go to the top of the 7th. Phillies will be Tim McCarver, Larry Boa, and Jim Longborg. We have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a chop ground out to first baseman Art Shamsky. He's going to take that unassisted for out number 1. Here's Larry Boa. Boa's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. We have a 9 coming off of the batter's card. It's a hard ground out to second baseman Felix Mion. Over to Art Shamsky for out number 2. And here's pitcher Jim Longborg. He's 1 for 2 with a single in the 5th. And that's a 9 coming off of the batter's card. And that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 9 for Matlack. And the 3rd out. So the Phillies go 1, 2, 3 again in the 7th, but they do lead 2-0. Okay, so we are into the 7th inning. And excuse me. Jim Longborg's pitching a shutout. So he gets the shutout card. All right, the Mets have their work cut out for them. Bottom of the 7th, Phillies lead 2-0. Art Shamsky, the first batter. We have a 10 coming off the batter's card. It's a short single with a question mark. They are not the same handedness, so we got a leadoff single for Art Shamsky here in the bottom of the 7th. It's going to bring up Jerry Grody. Got a 9 coming off of the pitcher's card. It is a high fly out to left fielder Greg Luzinski. He's underneath that. Makes the catch for out number 1. Shamsky holds at first base. That brings up Bud Harrelson. We have a 9 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's another high fly out, this time to center fielder Gary Maddox, and he is under that for out number 2. That's going to be it for Jon Matlack. So we're going to bring up a pinch hitter, and that's going to be John Milner. John Milner's going to pinch hit for Jon Matlack here in the bottom of the 7th. With Art Shamsky on first base and 2 outs. And warming up for the Phillies, we're going to have Chris Short, left-hander. He's going to warm up. And Gene Garber. Short and Garber are going to warm up for the Phillies. And John Milner's going to pinch hit, as I said, for Jon Matlack. 2 outs. You got double sixes. It's coming off the batter's card. It's a pop fly double. And with 2 outs, all runners score on a pop fly double. So Matlack delivers. He's on second base. Shamsky scores. The Mets are on the board. And we're back to the top of the order for the Mets. Score is now 2-1. The shutout card goes away for Jim Longborg. And here's Agee. Got a 3 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a slow ground out to second baseman Dave Cash. Over to Del Unser for out number 3. But the Mets do score on John Milner's pinch hit RBI double. And after 7 innings of play, it's the Mets, or the Phillies 2 and the Mets 1. So Matlack's out of the game. We're at the top of the order for the Phillies. And let's see, we have Cash, McBride, and Schmidt, a lefty, righty, lefty. It's going to be Chris Short. Or excuse me, not Chris Short. Why was I warming up pictures for the Phillies? Oh, boy. Well, it's going to be... It's going to be Ray Sadecki. So Ray Sadecki's coming in to pitch. Okay. So he's facing the top of the order here in the 8th. Phillies lead 2-1. And that is in top of the 8th for Sadecki. So he's going to face Dave Cash, Bake McBride, and Mike Schmidt. We have a 7 coming off the pitcher's card. Let's take a gamble. No one's on base. Deep fly out center field. This pitcher hangs a high curve. If batter has 5W or more on his card, he takes ball 4 for a walk. Well, Cash only has a W2. So that's a deep fly out to center field. Tommy Agee's under that for out number 1 here in the 8th. That's going to bring up Fake McBride. And that's an 8 coming off of the batter's card. It's a hard ground out to third base. Wayne Garrett over to Art Shamsky for out number 2. Here's Mike Schmidt. Schmitty is 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts in this game. We have a 6 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to first baseman Art Shamsky. He's going to take that unassisted for out number 3. And the Phillies go quietly in the 8th, but they still lead 2-1 after 7.5 innings. Okay, Jim Longborg's coming out with this 2-run lead, but the Phillies are getting Tug McGraw warming up. And there's a Tug McGraw over in the Mets dugout. He's like, or the Mets bullpen, I should say. And he's like, hey, who is that guy? He looks familiar. Well, it is a doppelganger that we have here. But left-hander Tug McGraw is going to start warming up for the Phillies. He might have a, who knows, 4-out save opportunity. We'll see. So it's going to be Mian, Cleon Jones, and Dave Kingman. We have a 5 coming off of the batter's card, and that's the single for Mian. And the Mets are in business right off the bat here in the bottom of the 8th. It's going to bring Cleon Jones, and Tug McGraw is throwing a little bit harder in the bullpen. Jones is 2 for 3, a couple of singles. We have a 7 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's take a gamble with a man on first. And it's a single high hopper over the shortstop, runner to third. Daring runner scores. I don't think Mian is a daring runner. No, he is not. Batter takes second on throw to home. Well, that doesn't happen because Mian is not a daring runner. However, the Mets have runners on the corners with nobody out, and that's going to be it for Jim Longborg. Tug McGraw's coming out to stop the bleeding. And McGraw's going to face Dave Kingman here. And this would be in the 8th. Bottom of the 8th. All right. So here's Dave Kingman. Runners on first and third, and nobody out. We have a 6 coming off the pitcher's card. It's a chop ground out. That chop ground out goes to first baseman Del Unser. Now we have to batter to first on fielder's choice. Well, here's what's going to happen here. I guess this ground ball drives Unser to his right. He doesn't have a play at first. So Kingman gets there on the fielder's choice, but he does throw over to Larry Boa to force Jones at second. And Mian holds at third. So there is 1 out, with runners still on first and third for Wayne Garrett. Garrett is 2 for 3 with a single and a double. There's an 8 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a hard ground out. Runners advance 1 base, alert defense, double play. Well, the Phillies are not the alert defense, excuse me. Because it's a hard ground out. And that's going to... Garrett's a lefty, so that goes to first baseman Art Shamsky. Shamsky makes a diving stop on a ground ball down the line. And... he's able to get up to first base to make the out unassisted on Garrett. But that allows Mian to score, and this game is tied. So there's 2 outs, and Kingman advances to second. So Kingman's on second with 2 outs. The game is tied. I said Art Shamsky. That was Del Unser, because Art Shamsky's batting right now. You have to forgive me. Okay, so we have an 11 coming off the pitcher's card, and that is a walk. Things are not going well for Tug McGraw. Now it's first and second with 2 outs. Game tied, and Jerry Grody. The Mets are going to start warming up the other Tug McGraw in their bullpen just in case they get the lead here. And this is trouble for the Phils. Double ones. It's coming off of the pitcher's card, and it's a triple with an exclamation point. And I got to look up the exclamation point. You got to pick a gamble card. If it's a batter image, it's a home run. If it's a pitcher image, it's the result on the card. And that is Jerry Grody drives one to deep right field. Bake McBride is back. It's over his head. Out of here. Gone. Home run for Jerry Grody. And boy, did Tug McGraw have a rough bottom of the 8th. That's a 3-run home run for Grody. Picks up 3 RBIs. And all of a sudden, the Mets are leading 5-2. My. Well, the Phillies are going to get Tom Underwood warming up. Dallas Green's disgusted in the dugout, but Tom Underwood's going to warm up for the Phillies. It's 2 outs. McGraw's going to face Harrelson here. We have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a high fly out. He's batting right-handed against McGraw, so that goes to left fielder Greg Luzinski for out number 3. But the Mets score 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th and now lead 5-2. My goodness. Well, as stated, that's going to be it for Ray Sadecki. And a slightly younger Tug McGraw is coming out for the Mets here in the 9th. Yes, I know he's going to be facing Greg Luzinski, but he's got Del Unser after that, who's a lefty. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to write McGraw down here. This other McGraw. And that's in the top of the 9th. And he's facing Luzinski, Unser, and Maddox. All right, here we go. And we have a 6 coming off of the pitcher's card. It's a sharp ground out to shortstop Bud Harrelson, over to Art Shamsky for out number 1. There's one away here in the top of the 9th. Here's Del Unser. And we have a 5 coming off of the pitcher's card. And that's a walk. So 1 out walk puts Unser on first base for Gary Maddox. We have an 8 coming off of the batter's card. It's a chop ground out. And that's a fielder's choice to second baseman Felix Mion over to Art Shamsky. Or excuse me, Felix Mion over to Bud Harrelson. Gets Unser forced at second for the 2nd out. And Gary Maddox reaches on a fielder's choice. There's 2 away. Last chance for the Phillies is Tim McCarver, who did homer in this game. He's 2 for 3. We have a 7 coming off of the batter's card. It's a line fly out to center fielder Tommy Agee. He makes the catch. That's out number 3. And the Phillies fail to score in the 9th and lose this game 5-2. See if we can get the totals for you. Phillies had 2 runs on 4 hits. No errors. The Mets, 5 runs on 8 hits. No errors. The winning pitcher, looks like Tug McGraw gets the loss. We know that much. As Tug McGraw gets the loss. And the winning pitcher, let's see. I guess that would be Ray Sadecki. Ray Sadecki gets the win. And the Mets go up 3-1. Phillies need to win this next game to survive and get the series back to the vet, where they may have a chance to tie it and possibly win it. So that's going to do it for this episode of Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. If you hung around, thank you for doing so. If you're a subscriber, I also thank you for that. If you're not, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be back again in the near future with another playthrough. And until then, take care.